Well, salutations, fellow idiots. Welcome back to yet another episode of that full moon madness, baby. Son of a bitch, that's still hitting pretty good. Anyway, today for you we have our second review in our third wave of reviews, and our second review in our trio of urban classics coverage. In case you missed the last episode, we decided to do these ones first to flesh out more of our proto-full moon library of reviews. As you can well see, today's movie is Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama, the first of two David Dakota films on here, both featuring Linnea Quigley. This is a movie that I was familiar with for years based on just the cover art and its reputation of being a fun movie. Well, let me tell you, does it live up to that reputation and the cover art? Just an absolute fucking blast. So glad that I finally got around to watching it. Much like my experience with Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, this is a case of me watching the movie and it just becoming an instant fucking classic for me. It will be in my B-movie rotation for years to come, and today we're going to try to do our best to explain to you why it should be in yours. Here's to it. Sorority Babes was written by Sergei Hasanex, it was produced by John Scholler, and directed by David Dakota. It was his third film that he had released through Charles Band. It was preceded by Dramaniac and Creepazoids, which we really should have reviewed first, but we will be reviewing directly after this. You got an absolute fucking triple threat of Scream Queen goodness on the cast with Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer, and Brink Stevens. You also got Andras Jones, Hal Havens, and Robin Rochelle. It's got music by Guy Moon, cinematography by Stephen A. Blake and Scott Ressler. It was edited by Thomas Michalski and Barry Zetlin. It was distributed by Urban Classics, and it had a limited theatrical release in January of 1988. It lists 1987 on the case though, so that's what we're fucking going with. Basically what you got on your hands with Sorority Babes is just a super fucking fun, campy, like evil genie movie in a bowling alley. Essentially the gist of it is this group of bros are like hanging out in their dorm room, kind of bored, watching horror movies, drinking brewskis, and one of them remembers that there is like this sorority initiation ritual going on, and they might be able to go sneak a peek at it, you know, see some scantily clad women getting spanked and whatnot, possibly some sexy pillow fights, basically the type of shit that young boys expect happens during these types of rituals. And they are not disappointed. That's exactly what they happen upon. They end up getting busted though, and the particularly sadistic leader of this sorority house decides that she wants these girls to complete this final initiation test wherein they have to break into the local bowling alley and steal this championship trophy. Only the catch is her parents actually own the bowling alley, so they plan on like foiling this plan for them to steal the trophy and then punishing them even further because she super likes, you know, dealing out this abuse for the sake of hazing. And since they busted the boys getting a peek on these girls in the shower, they are tasked with going along with them to help them steal this trophy. They make it into the bowling alley okay, and they end up meeting up with Linnea Quigley, who plays a character named Spider, who just happens to be busting into the fucking bowling alley to rob the place. She begrudgingly kind of hooks up with them after, while screwing around with this trophy that they're trying to steal. They end up dropping it and unleashing this evil fucking genie, who calls himself the Imp, sounds like Eddie Murphy, and offers to, you know, grant them some wishes, because that's what genies do, right? Only it turns out these wishes pretty quickly go to crap. He traps them inside this bowling alley and decides that he's just gonna fuck with them. That's basically the movie in a nutshell. He turns, you know, the sorority sisters that were leading this hazing ritual into various creatures based on their own superficial sort of values. Like the one girl is all crazy about her hair, so it turns her into basically the Bride of Frankenstein with the crazy hair. The other girl's, you know, always concerned about her complexion, so it makes her face all bubbly and gross and zombified. And they start attacking our kids. They end up learning from this old janitor who keeps repeatedly getting stuck in this closet. It's one of the funniest parts of the entire movie. Anyway, he clues them into the fact that this little imp motherfucker came from like this dude who couldn't bowl a good game to save his life, and then one day he just started bowling perfect games over and over and over again. He became like this bowling legend. But it turned out he had used this imp to wish this skill upon himself in it pretty quickly went to shit, so he ended up trapping it in this championship bowling trophy, and it was stuck in there for 30 years until these kids, inadvertently released it. The only way that they can stop all of this craziness is to trap the imp back inside some type of a container, because once you trap these little genie bastards in some tight sort of space, they lose all their powers. I don't want to spoil the entire movie for you, but as I'm sure I've impressed upon you, it is a good fucking time. It's not overly gory, but the effects are pretty serviceable. Everybody's performances are pretty great. Linnea Quigley is probably the most wooden of all of them, which is odd because she did so well in Creepazoids previous to this with David Dakota, but you could still tell that she was having an absolute fucking blast doing it, and she even brought Hal Havens along with her, aka motherfucking Stooge from Night of the Demons, because she enjoyed acting alongside him so much, and he does bring a lot of humor to the movie, and a lot of the charm. That being said though, the whole cast is pretty great. Michelle Bauer's always amazing, Brinke Stevens is always a treat, Robin Rochelle, who plays Babs, is also equally enjoyable. It's just a well-rounded cast and a well-rounded little campy fun beer and popcorn flick. Sure, you can tell that it was shot fast and on the cheap, but none of that holds it back from being an absolute kick-ass time from start to finish. And the way, the style that he put into the way that he shot it is fucking phenomenal. Sure, the credit for that probably goes one part David Dakota, one part the dudes that did DP on it, but there's just something great about the way that it's, all framed up, It almost feels like a mix between, a Hammer horror film and a video game. Soundtrack fucking slaps too, that can't go unmentioned. And I also gotta say, as wooden as Linnea Quigley's performance is in this, and I've seen her give similar performances, if I remember right from the special features, they talk about how they had to shoot it with her really quick. So she has similar performances and stuff like Jacko, but that's much later on when she could pull a better performance out of a short period of time. This, it kind of shows, she's just basically reading the lines. But that aside, she does manage to develop some solidly cute chemistry with the main kid in the movie, the main nerd kid of the group. And it's one of my favorite elements of the entire movie. It's just adorable to watch it play out. It is also super cool that David Dakota seems to put her in a lot more action-oriented scenes than other directors put her in. In this and Creepazoids, she has a choreographed fight scene. And in this, he didn't even have her get naked. Michelle Bauer's naked up all over this bitch, though. Brinke Stevens as well, so no worries. They bring the ruckus. Since we mentioned the special features, I guess it's a good time to talk about those in terms of this digitally remastered edition, which looks beautiful as always. They might have skimped on the extras with something like Slave Girls, but that was no exception either. They really do a good job of cleaning these up from the original negatives or whatever. And this one looks fucking phenomenal for a DVD release. In terms of extras, we've got Tales from the Bowling Alley, a never-before-seen behind-the-scenes featurette, which is pretty informative, but super annoying the way that they edited it together. They probably should have taken the archival footage and just had it be silent while he narrated over it, or had that as a separate featurette. That stuff aside, it was an enjoyable watch, all things considered, but I wouldn't have put it together that way. Anyway, outside of that, you got the original trailer for the movie, not the remastered trailer. I had to source that from, I think, Robot Wars, but you got the original trailer, you got additional Full Moon trailers, and you got new audio commentary with director David Dakota, writer Sergei Hazanex, and Scream Queen Brinke Stevens. Definitely going to be checking that out in the near future, so very much more stacked than the Slave Girls DVD was. Both quality releases, but this one definitely takes the prize of being what you expect from a special edition of something like this, Super fucking awesome, super happy to have it in the collection. Super excited to listen to that commentary, and you motherfuckers should check it out on either Tubi or Full Moon Streaming immediately. It's probably on Amazon Prime as well. That's all we got for this, guys. As always, I have been Mosley. You've been a bunch of sexy beasts, and this has been yet another episode of that Full Moon Madness, baby. Cheers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next time with Creepazoids.
The world of Full Moon lives online at fullmoondirect.com. Classics like Puppet Master, Demonic Toys, Subspecies, and more recent favorites Ginger Dead Man, Evil Bong, Killjoy, and more can be found at fullmoondirect.com on DVD, Blu-ray, limited edition box sets, replicas, toys, shirts, and more. Only available at fullmoondirect.com.